Hello, one and all. It is I, Hardy Tech Yo-Yo, and I have finally returned from my great expedition out into the wonderful wild world of FedEx. Ah, yes. See, for I have been furloughed, let go, cut loose. Well, fired, I guess, if we're gonna spit the hot facts here about it. Not that I did anything wrong. It's more of, everybody else kind of did something wrong. So this was a temporary position. I knew that going in. It was through a temp agency, which if you guys don't know what that is, a temp agency is basically a place where you go and they find short-term contracted work for you, doing pretty, random things like, oh, we need you to go to help out this construction site, like dig holes, or we need you to the few times I've actually worked with a few of them before. One was, it was a like 3-month contract going around to different schools installing new telephones for them. There was another one which was I worked at a factory that made so gas stations, right? The big signs they have that have the numbers printed for the current price. I worked at a small little factory that printed those numbers, which was actually pretty cool. And it was just, what I did was they printed it and then I took it over and I hung it up. And that only was like a 3-day thing because they just needed someone short term to come in and fill in. So basically, yeah, it's just random, like, entry level work that you do for a short period of time. And then the company finds somewhere else for you to go. So I saw the opportunity that FedEx had the temperature taker position at like $15 an hour to just sit there and take people's temperatures as they entered the building. So it's like the best like of both worlds, because it's the easiest job in the world. Like, there will probably never be anything easier than just sitting there watching, Netflix and Hulu and YouTube, and just every now and then be like, phew. In fact, I don't have it here, but I have one of the temperature scanners. I was gonna take a live temperature reading right here on camera for you guys, but I guess that's not a possibility, unfortunately. I'm sorry for getting your hopes up if I did. And the thing about temp agencies, right? Not everybody is like this, but there is a certain stigma with the workers that you get from there. It's very much the kind of people that can't hold down long-term work. That is a lot of them. Untrustworthy people for whatever reason, or kind of like more obnoxious people, bad personality people, maybe people with like drug issues or whatever it may be. So that's like a decent portion of the people that work at those kind of positions. I assumed you had Earthquake. Was that silly of me to assume that Arnhall had Earthquake? It's been a while since I've played this, so I guess I'm just a fool. And that was definitely the case with this position. I know you guys heard some of my rants about the people that I had to deal with. Just very obnoxious, over-the-top, inconsiderate people. If you saw my bitching on Twitter, there's so many people that don't seem to acknowledge the fact that other people exist. I would go to my little corner, I'd plug in my headphones, I would watch my stuff and keep to myself. And other people, I don't think they have any idea what the fuck a headphone is, right? They would just start blaring videos or music as loud as they possibly could for everybody to hear, to know, not even conscious of the fact that other people are in the room. Or they would get on speakerphone and they would have super loud conversations. This one lady got into like a yelling argument over speakerphone about how her man's always spending all their money on cigarettes. Like, I'm not surprised that these people definitely fit that stereotype of the majority of people that go through work through temp agencies. Because, you're not going to fucking keep a job if you have that kind of attitude. It's disgusting. And there was also so many people just kept leaving. I couldn't understand it. Who would have the attitude of literally $15 an hour, almost double minimum wage, to just sit there for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours? You can watch stuff on your phone, you could read a book, you could do whatever you want. All you had to do was sit there and take temperatures. You will never find an easier job. And so many people just kept quitting. We had so many people just not show up to work, who quit the job. They didn't give any kind of notice. They just stopped showing up, and there's caused so many issues with like the schedule not being filled out properly. So the contract was coming up with the temp agency and FedEx, and who the fuck am I supposed to be talking to here? Go on ahead. I'm gonna make sure. Okay, so I assume this is when we, yep, finally get it going here. And I don't blame FedEx at all for this. Is that they're like, you know what? This is just not working out. It's been a huge liability with all these unreliable workers. We're just gonna end the contract. So the contract ended. Despite the fact that I did nothing wrong, I was a reliable worker. I showed up every day on time, which, by the way, I swear I'm the only fucking person who knew how to show up on time. I was usually there anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes early, and most of the time, anyone else who came in while I was there usually showed up at least 5 minutes late. There was sometimes they showed up like 30 minutes late, and this is a relatively unsupervised thing. Like, you go through security, and then our little temperature taking area was right after security check. So you didn't check in with a manager or anything, you just wrote your name in on a sign-in log. So they would come in, say if their start was 8, they'd come in at like 8:30, but write down 8 o'clock on the thing. And they were catching on to some people doing this because they were checking security tapes and seeing that, like, wow, this person was not here. And there was some firings as well because people are stupid. And one guy, this very first day, or well, the first week I was there, this guy just left. He was there was 2 different stations for you to get temperature techs. One for all the normal employees, and then there was one for, oh my god, this is a Nuzlocke, I gotta pay attention. Holy shit, oh, no. Oh, that could have been very bad. Okay. Ooh, that was a little scary. Okay, let's take out the gold bat. I can't believe it lived a force bomb. That's wild. And I guess we'll go into Hermione. So this one guy, there was 2 stations, one for the employees that walk through, and then the other one was for trucks. So a truck would drive up, you'd scan their temperature, and they'd drive into the parking lot. And this guy was at the truck entrance, and it turns out he just left. He left, and he put a note saying, went to doctor's appointment, be back later. And he didn't tell anybody he was leaving. So we found out that on that site, who knows how long it had just been completely abandoned with nobody there, with people just driving through. And I know how unreliable the whole temperature check thing is for coronavirus in the first place. But it's the principle of the matter, you know? So it was such a headache. I don't blame FedEx at all for at least not wanting to work with this temp agency anymore. This was my first experience with this specific company. And right off the bat, before I even started, there was issues where I got a call saying like, hey, there's an issue with your background check. And I'm like, oh, lovely. What did I possibly do? I was a little worried because I am a junior, right? And my dad is currently in prison. So I was worried that somehow, despite the fact that it should be based off my social security number, that there was some kind of confusion there. But no, it turns out they were saying that my identity just didn't exist because instead of using my social security number, they were trying to look me up with my phone number. They read back the number of like, are you sure this is your social security number? And they read back what they had. And I was like, nope, that is my phone number. Wow. So that was my just very first experience with that company. And then just they would literally hire anybody. Like, I didn't get interviewed at all. I filled out an application and they're like, okay, great. You could start like on this upcoming Monday. So very just, yeah, that pretty much says all I need to say about that company. But I am back here with you. I enjoyed the very easy paychecks I was earning, but alas, it came to an end. And that temp company pretty much doesn't have anything else in the town where I live available. So it's back on that coding grind. I did meet one other reliable person that was there. He was only taking his temp job because his wife or his girlfriend is pregnant, and literally every dollar he earned was going into savings for that. Normally he's a freelancer. He was able to do his freelance work on his laptop while working there. So yeah, it was like a really good thing for him, and I got a chance to pick his brain a little bit because he was doing freelance work, which is definitely something I'm considering doing, getting into the programming field. But freelancing, especially when you don't have any kind of reputation and you're just starting out and don't have any contacts, is terrifying. It is very, very hard to get a start out there. And he turned me on to LinkedIn, which is definitely, I've heard of LinkedIn before. It turns out I made a profile years ago, but I've never really used it because I didn't really think much of it. I just thought it was like a Twitter, but for like, corporate CEOs to brag about how cool they are or whatever. But he was showing me some of the success he had on LinkedIn, and he's active on there, and he, follows, makes connections with a lot of people. And literally the day before, he just got a message from a company asking if he would be interested in a job interview. So it turns out, like, LinkedIn, if you're looking for work, a lot of recruiters actually use LinkedIn, which I didn't realize at the time for some reason. So I have this new motivation to, like, get my portfolio a lot better and work on my resume and get a decently impressive looking LinkedIn profile to, help get my name out there. So if any of you out there have any kind of web development needs or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me, and you could be my very first client, because I've never done work for anybody besides myself before. So please, yeah, any kind of web development stuff within a certain degree, I'd be happy to at least discuss it. We can, if you also are into coding, we can, did I turn on the speed button? Why do I feel like I'm moving extra fast? I'm not holding the... I'm not... Okay. Apparently I also have a button that just permanently toggles on the speed button, and I don't think I realized that. But yeah, if you're into programming at all, I would absolutely love to talk to you about it. We actually have a chat in the Team Caterpie Discord just for programming. It's not very active, though, and I'm not very active in there either, So, yeah. But yeah, if you have any, if you're ever like, man, I want a website where I just talk all about chessspin. Hit me up. I'll see what we can do. Yeah, so I can definitely use some first clients and some stuff to put in a portfolio. So yeah, that's been my past few weeks as far as what's been going on, and I do miss it. It was very out of nowhere. That's another thing with this temp company, is apparently FedEx notified the temp company that this contract was going to be ending like 2 weeks in advance, and they didn't tell us anything. And it's not FedEx's responsibility, because they're not our employers. We just work on the FedEx ground. We're employed through this temp agency. And it got to the point where FedEx had to tell us themselves, like, hey, just so you know, since they're not telling you, this contract ends tomorrow, please don't show up here, there won't be anything here. So yeah, the contract ended the next day, and I had no idea because they just didn't bother telling me. So yeah, the temp agency I'd worked with previously when I was living in Colorado for a short while, much better. This one, I don't know about them, man. I'm not gonna say any names of the company. I've never even heard of this company before I saw their thing on, I think it was Indeed or somewhere I saw it, and probably for good reason. It does not seem like a very good company. I don't know. They might be a national company. I'm not actually sure if they're like a national company or not, but yeah, don't recommend it. If you get the opportunity to, well, I guess, oh man, see, I was going to be like, don't work for this company, but I guess I couldn't tell you not to work for the company if I didn't tell you the name of the company. But, I don't want to like slander or whatever. I had no problem with FedEx. FedEx seemed fine. FedEx is constantly hiring, and it's like $17 an hour to be a package handler, which is not a driver, which what I originally thought it would have been. It's actually the people who work in the warehouse who load up the trucks and stuff. And that seems like they'll pretty much hire anybody as well, because in like the few weeks I was there, like almost every other day there was a new training class that came through. So that was wild. And I get it, they're probably more busy than ever with everybody staying at home and ordering things online. So it makes sense. But if I can avoid it, I really don't want to work in a very hot warehouse doing a lot of heavy lifting for like 8. I think some of their shifts are 10-hour shifts. That sounds horrible. Like, yeah, that's a really good pay, but oof, I don't know about that. But where, I mean, I'm not in desperate need of work right now anyways. I was pretty much just doing that to try to pay off my credit cards. And I did put a nice dent into my debt. I got about 30% reduction on my entire credit card debt just from the short time I was working there. So it's not bad. And, you know, I was able to have a little, like, extra spending money, which was nice. I don't remember where any of these buttons are. So I think we're supposed to be teleporting somewhere, right? Am I doing this even remotely close to correctly? Because something doesn't quite feel right about all this. Oh my gosh, all these switches and stuff I'm doing. I've mentioned this several times throughout the series, but I'm not the most versed with Black and White 2, especially the post game. So you guys are gonna be watching me fumble around a bit for this episode, but gosh darn it, we're gonna get through the Team Galactic stuff today. We are so close. Oscar, be strong. Okay, Oscar's very strong. Oscar's big, strong boy. We are so close, so very close to the end of this series. And I want to wrap it up strong. I want to get that W. I want to beat the Elite Four, and I guess be oh so proud of myself. Is any of this right? I don't need to heal up quite yet. I just have the Dugong. My poor boy Dugong took too much damage. I don't feel like I'm going in the right direction. Like, there's definitely something to do here. But I'm also very conflicted about it. Conflicted? Why would I be conflicted about it? I don't think that's quite the white terminology I'm looking for. Oh, I hate my brain sometimes when I forget how to properly use my words. Anyways, so we've been gone for a little while. I don't think I've made a video since before the DLC came out. Oh, we gotta get the password. What did you just say? I will accept my fate and give you a hint. The first letter to password is R. Oh my gosh, we gotta get like letters to a password or something, don't we? Oh, that sounds absolutely horrible. Is there anything else I could do here? Oh, I gotta do the password. Can I know the password now? Oh, it's gotta be Reshiram, right? It's gotta be what it is. Oh, yeah, okay, that's the... Thank goodness for the letter R. Oh my gosh, do I have a big fight coming up that I should have thought about? It's an act of mercy on my part to bring an end to this now. Okay, then I think we have the Colress fight still, right? We fight Colress here, I'm pretty sure. Cragnall. Okay, if this is gonna be like ice types, this is gonna be a pretty walk in the park if you ask me. Oh yeah, that's the worst he could do. A little bit of an ice beam, a little bit of a cold day. Please, it has been hot here in Maryland. I would be super happy for a nice cold day. Oh, a light screen. Actually, that's a pretty good defense against my flamethrower. I wish it'd get cold here. I already miss the winter. That was the one bad thing about being stuck in that metal box, is that they did have an air conditioner there, but I'm a very passive person. I don't like to, you know, step on other people's toes, and there was this lady here, and she liked it like a nice 90 degrees, it felt like. At least, it was like 80 degrees in there, and she had a blanket wrapped around herself. Like, how fucking hot do you need it to be? And I'm not one to, like, step on toes and be like, oh, can we turn on the air conditioner, please? I'll just let people, you know, walk the fuck all over me, unfortunately. So, yeah, I would just sit there, like, melting off all of my hair and testicles and slowly turning into a big Caterpie jello pile of misery. And, you know, that's probably a self-esteem kind of thing where I gotta learn to stand up for myself, right? But that's preposterous. Why would I do something like that? Alright, this is the Colress fight. Probably should focus a little bit now. This is one of the last major fights of the game. But I'm pretty sure he's all, like, steel types, right? This isn't Blaze Black where he's got all the fancy Rotoms and stuff. He's just here to come at me. Why don't you come at me? How long could we just stand here and stare at each other? Especially before it gets, like, uncomfortable. Alright. It already got uncomfortable. I'm very bad with awkward silence. Oh, it's the worst. I read a thing once that said, like, awkward silence, you start to feel awkward silence after, like, 4 seconds. And, oh boy, is that true. When I'm, like, stuck in, like, close proximity to someone, I feel the desperate need to, like, at least try to make some kind of conversation, which is horrible because small talk is, like, my absolute worst possible skill. I'm so horrible at making small talk. At least I think so. I always manage to get through it, but I'm just constantly looking for something to talk about or something to ask about or inquiring them in some way. But I also hate talking about myself. Yes, I realize the joke is that all I do is talk about myself on this channel. But to other people, I'm very... This is a thing I've struggled with, like, my whole life, is can you be modest and acknowledge that you're, like, modest, right? Like, I don't like talking about myself to other people. I don't like bragging about my accomplishments, or even, you know, acknowledging these. You know, if someone is with me and they're like, oh yeah, he's like a YouTuber, I'm like, well, no, I mean, no, you know, technicalities. Why didn't I use fake out? That was really stupid. Fudge. So, like, that's kind of how I am, and oh my god, that was a crit! At least we didn't get fully paralyzed. Can we paralyze this thing? No. Oh, we did! Okay, great. So do we have a full restore? We don't have any full restores. Unless they're hidden in here. No. Alright. You know what? I mean, that was a crit, so as long as he doesn't get another crit, we should live with a little over half HP, I believe? Flash cannon. Okay. We might actually be faster now. Or that works as well. Okay. Got through the Magna Zone. That's only his second Pokemon, though. We still have to face his, what I assume is a Klinklang. Which, I'm a Behemoth. Oh, that's not a metal type at all. I forgot he had a Behemoth. I love Behemoth. I think I did a Pokemon countdown of, like, top 5 most, like, undervalued or unloved or forgotten Pokemon or whatever, and I definitely think Behemoth is a very unforgotten or a very unloved Pokemon. Behemoth and Elgian both, I don't think get anywhere near the amount of love that they deserve because they are amazingly fun, cool, quirky Pokemon. I don't get it. They seem like the kind of Pokemon that'd be very popular, so it's always surprised me. But I guess that goes for a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon specifically, seem to get kind of pushed under the rug. Which is weird, because I usually only ever really hear praise for Gen 5, but, like, LGM and Behemoth, and, like, Basculin, and so many other Pokemon that, you know, I can't even fathom naming them all right now. Maractus is another one that just kind of seemed to be forgotten for some reason. I'm convinced, though, that my campaign to make Finneon more popular is working because we have Pokemon Snap 2 coming, new Pokemon Snap, and Finneon, of all the water Pokemon, was shown swimming in the little water, and I take 100% credit for that. I'm pretty sure that was me. I'm responsible for Finneon being in Pokemon Snap. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I expect all of those pictures to be sent to me on my Twitter, @HardyTack. I want to see all of them because it's amazing that my boy is back. I'm very happy for him, or her, whatever Finneon wants to be, the little terror that it is. So, yeah, Pokemon Snap 2 is very exciting to... That's Rock Slide. Oh boy. Thank God you're not a Metagross. Oh, and a crit too. That's the second crit this fight. Thankfully, no one's died by a crit. The series has been surprisingly decent to us as far as crit deaths go. I had the whole crit death counter thing, and I think a majority of our deaths haven't been crit counters, as opposed to Renegade Platinum, which was like at least like 60 to 70% like critical deaths. Like it had to have been. Excuse me for repeating myself, but if I make Pokemon stronger, I don't care what it takes. You will give them. What are you gonna give them? Steroids or something? You can't possibly be that offensive. Step on a warp town on the other side of the room where Kyurem is being held. Good luck in your battle. I have a feeling I'm gonna need that good luck. Alright, okay, so we're gonna be facing Getsus. I believe we face Getsus here. And I don't really remember what Getsus uses. I think he's a mixed type user. Oh, the warp pin on that other side. Right? I'm pretty sure he uses, like, at least when you face him in a champion fight. He had, like, Cophagrigus. I think he had Hydreigon. And we're facing, like, the champion team gets this. This is pretty scary. He's far too committed to pure science. I'm pretty sure he was going to pump him with steroids. That's not very committed. How dare he put his personal intellectual... Oh my gosh, just what Pokemon do you have? I just want to know what your Pokemon team's going to be. Plasma will use this knowledge and technology to take Kyurem's true power to the absolute limit. Wait a minute, I don't think we faced Getsus here yet. We haven't done the fusion thing yet. We have to go find, like, Zekrom and N or whatever. Do we face him here? I completely forgot about this. I just thought the ship was, like, the end of it. I completely forgot that we have to go do the whole Kyurem transferring into, I guess it'd be Black Kyurem in this one. Oh, hey, it's Purloin! After all this time. Aww. I can't believe it turned its back on its little sister's owner. Okay. Wait, so if you stole that thing 5 years ago, and Black and White was 2 years ago, did we ever face a trainer in Black and White? No, the Shadow Trade was introduced in Black 2 and White 2, right? Right? I think the Shadow Trade was a Black 2, White 2 thing. Cause I was about to lose my mind to be like, we gotta go back and find out if the Shadow Trade, if we faced a Purloin or a Liefeld, because, oh man, what a plot twist that would be if it turned out this whole time that, like, is that possible? That was Hugh's little sister's Pokemon this whole time? That would have been mind-blowing. Like, a very, very cool thing that there's no way would have been done on purpose. But I think the Shadow Trade was introduced in this game. Do we seriously have to face all three of these guys? Is this the filler that I'm always hearing about? Because I'm feeling ready to wrap things up, but we gotta get through all these chumps here. Oh well. I guess we'll end today with a discussion from you guys. So, I know there's been a lot of controversy around the Pokemon announcement that just happened. Pokemon Unite, which, by the way, as someone pointed out in Discord, I had a channel called Pokemon Unite, like, back in 2012, so I expect a royalty check in the mail. Anyways. I know there's some controversy around the developer for that game, but apparently, or the producer, whatever it is, I think it's called Tencent, but apparently they got their hand in, like, everything. So, like, if you use Discord, they're a backer of Discord. So it seems like it's basically impossible to avoid this company on the internet. So I'm just kind of taking that out of the question for a bit. I'm personally kind of excited about it. The fact that honestly, if it was Diamond Pearl remakes, that would have been really exciting. I was going to be a little bit let down if it was, in fact, Let's Go Johto. Just for the fact I didn't really care about the Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu games. So, you know, if it was Let's Go Johto, like, yeah, it would have been exciting to be a part of a new game announcement, but I don't even know if I would have ended up playing it, because Heart Gold and Soul Silver are, like, damn near perfect games. I mean, they have their flaws with the very poor level curve, but besides that, yeah, I would have been kind of underwhelmed by that announcement. And where do we go from here? And I've always been interested in League of Legends. I've tried playing League of Legends several times, and it never really clicked for me. And it very well may have to do with the same reason I had a hard time getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or especially Magic the Gathering, is I had no connection to these characters. While, like, with Pokemon, at the Pokemon trading card game or any other Pokemon game, you have an immediate connection to, like, all of those Pokemon. So I definitely think that played a factor in it. And I think that I would be pretty interested Oh, we go in here, the big Kyurem thing happens. I think I'd be pretty interested in trying Pokemon Unite, being a Pokemon kind of League of Legends style thing. So I'm definitely interested in trying it. It's a shame that it's mobile, mainly probably like mobile first and then like Switch. That's unfortunate. But obviously Pokemon's not going to make anything for, Steam. That would be weird. But I'll definitely be happy to give it a try. But that's going to wrap it up for us today, guys. I'd love to know what your opinions on Pokemon Unite and Pokemon Snap and all that were. And besides the whole argument of, oh man, it shouldn't have been its own direct, but that's probably had something to do with the fact that they're partnering with a huge company and they want it to be their own thing. So I'm not bothered by the fact that it was its own announcement. But I also don't get that frustrated with Pokemon, and unlike a lot of the fan base who gets very annoyed at pretty much anything that's not exactly what they want. So lovely community we have here. Thank you guys for joining me on this episode of the Pokemon Black 2 Leggacy-Locke. I will see you guys next time. Until then, let's unite, I guess. Farewell.